guys doing? Girls, good evening. I did a live stream about an hour ago on Instagram. I wanted to do one on YouTube. I feel exhausted today. I feel tired. I just recovering. I had this flu for about a week, so I think I've gotten over the worst of it, which is great. Many good things. So let's see how we get on today. So this will be a mentoring conversation. If you're new to my YouTube channel, my name is Jonathan. I'm a mentor and a teacher. This is my passion, although at the same time it's very challenging and stressful, but I love it. I've been mentoring people now for 12 years. It's gone really quick. And I help people to improve their lives, and I also help people to, be a better person, be kinder. A lot of the work that I do is communication. It's what we're going to talk about today, which is one of the major problems, not just that my clients have, but it's a worldwide phenomenon and a problem. And there's so much that I'm going to say on this. I won't be able to get through all of it today, but that's okay. It'll be a continuation. So what you see on the title, it's not clickbait. I don't do clickbait on my videos. I don't need to. I just prefer to tell the truth. Put it out and help people, inspire people, and whatever happens from that is going to happen. So yeah, poor communication skills in relationships with other human beings, especially your close relationships, it causes anxiety, it causes mental health problems if it continues and nothing changes. And I'll talk more on that in a second. I need some more coffee. One of the things that's really exhausting and tiring at times when I do these videos and streams is having to re-explain, who I am, what I do, because obviously a lot of you know me. Appreciate you've been following me and supporting me for a long time, and I've been supporting you as well. But obviously you've got new people coming on, which is brilliant. Sometimes I can't be bothered to keep explaining, my name, what I do. I just want to get straight into the talk and continue, but obviously that's life, and that's a big part of what we're talking about today, is that improving communication. You're not always going to feel like saying the things that you need to say, and it's not always going to be comfortable. It's certainly not always going to be pain-free, but that's the price you pay for a better mental health, better relationships, respecting other people, being authentic, being yourself, and getting the most out of each and every day in all your relationships. That's how I see it anyway. That's been a constant continuation of something true that I've experienced and also helped and seen with clients and other people that I've met throughout the last 40 years on this planet. I really do draw a lot of similarities to, so many people, every single person on planet Earth who's living and existing and breathing is frightened and worried about getting awkward in a conversation, especially with people that they're close to, that they love, and new people, or on a video, on a talk at any moment in time. And I've had that fear about 50,000 times. But a different perspective, and it's a perspective that I've experienced again and again and again, and I want to continue to share it. It feels great to share it. What's the worst that's going to happen? So you get awkward at any moment. You're in a conversation and you get awkward and you don't know what to say, or you freeze up, or you get some bad emotions and you're trying to stuff them down because you don't want the other person to see that you're struggling, or you don't want them to feel that you're going through stuff, and then you feel awkward. And when you're in that situation, because it's awkward and because you judge it, you give it a double judgment. So initially you've got the pain of the awkwardness, then you've got the judgment, you judging yourself. You're saying, I shouldn't be awkward, I'm ashamed, why is this happening to me? I hope the person doesn't see that I'm awkward. I've got to hide it, I've got to disguise it, what are they going to think about me? So you go into that. Thank you. So you go through that process, and at some point, it does end. It's over. You're back home, or that person goes about their business, you go about your business, or you know, a week goes by. Who cares? Maybe you still care. Maybe you're still carrying that pain, that shame of awkwardness that happened 20 years ago. Well, I've been through this many times as well. You know, that's why I was so passionate to get into the industry that I'm in, which is changing people's lives, the motivation scene, mentorship, positivity. I dedicated my life to it. I risked my life, you know. Don't mind if all of you laugh at me. I've got a good sense of humor, but I literally risked my life to help people. Literally risked my life. Truth be known, there's a little bit of a joke, and I like to be funny as well and have humor. But you know, this work that I love doing put me in a mental hospital in 2017. Now, obviously, there were many contributing factors. Success. You know, I never, for many years, I didn't think I was good enough to be successful. And when I achieved success, I was so happy, and it overwhelmed me. It shocked me. It stopped me from committing suicide in my 20s because I was close to doing it. There were about 3 things that kept me alive that stopped me from taking my own life. The first one was my faith, was my belief in Jesus and being a Christian. Even though I was struggling with my faith as well, but that stopped me from doing it. The second thing was my mum, my nan. Didn't want to hurt my mum, and my nan kept me alive. You know, my nan was my best friend on planet Earth. I trusted my nan 100%. She was always there for me. She never judged me, and it didn't matter if I didn't have any money, or it didn't matter. She just loved me unconditionally. So, overcoming that, not committing suicide in my 20s, and achieving all my goals that I had in my 20s by age 29 and a half, I was the happiest man, or I don't know if this is a fact, but I was the happiest man on planet Earth. I got a girlfriend, I was in love. I had many years where I didn't believe I could get a girlfriend. I actually thought I'm not good enough. And if a woman, or if anybody knew that I had all these mental health problems that I had and all these anxieties, and if they knew, or if she knew that I got bullied growing up, and I was deeply ashamed of the things that happened to me, they wouldn't stay with me, they wouldn't love me, and I felt insecure, unattractive, broke, poor. I had all these insecurities. So when I proved that wrong, I was so happy. Then when I overcame the fears that I'm never ever going to make money because I grew up poor, I don't deserve to make more, I don't deserve to have more than minimum wage, and it's just not possible for me. It's not in the realms of possibility. So when I started to make more money, get a girlfriend, and then overcome the next fear, I had a fear that there's no way on planet Earth I could ever do a public talk. If I do a public talk, everyone's going to catch me out, and they're going to find out that I've got all these insecurities, and they're going to see, well, I'm going to get awkward in front of everyone. I'm going to be caught out. I had all these, all my intrusive thoughts, which used to make me want to commit suicide and make me feel ashamed, lonely, and at times make me feel like I was make me feel like I was a bad person, even though I knew that I was a really good person. I always had a good heart. So when I overcame that, I was very happy for a few years, but then, you know, I work with a lot of clients which I don't regret and I love. I've got a good sense of humour, but obviously, you know, when you work with people that have got issues, you're human, it's going to affect you. I mean, there's always going to be a cause and effect of everything. So yeah, a combination of my trauma from my past, the joy, the cognitive stress of success and the changes that I made in my life, experiencing, you know, a lot of fame, which was amazing at the start, but then I hated it after. It was hell. I didn't want it anymore. It put a lot of mental stress. It caused me mental health problems. Death, you know, the death of my nan, never really getting over the death of my nan, who I absolutely love and will love forever. And, you know, changes and so many good things. And, you know, obviously having a mental health problem as a kid and my issue servicing and, you know, losing people, all these things, you know, the world that we live in. So I had a mental health breakdown, and I lost my train of thought. So yeah, I had a mental health breakdown in 2017, and I don't know how I done it, but I made a full recovery. And during that time, during the time from 2017, when I was in a mental hospital for about 6 or so weeks, and then coming out of the mental hospital, obviously it took me a few years to recover. So from 2017 all the way up until the present day now, 2024, I really realised that, you know, if you don't have good people around you, whether that's your family, your friends, your wife, your husband, people around you, your clients, whoever, people, then you're going to suffer with unnecessarily mental health problems. So poor communication contributes eventually to mental health problems. And that's been from my own personal experience. I'm 40 years young. During my 40 years, I've done a life examination, which has been an incredible thing, and I'll maybe get into that in another video when it's the right time. And I've been able to examine my life and go, let me look at my life and let me compare. How was my mental health when I was with these people? How was my mental health when I was with these people? And it's really, really obvious, very obvious and interesting, it's factual. Well, when I was in a relationship with this person, my mental health was brilliant, it was fantastic. Or when I spent a lot of time with this family member, my mental health was 10 out of 10. When I spent too much time with this family member, my mental health was catastrophic, it was dreadful. I was having suicidal thoughts, manic depression, anxiety attacks, paranoia, trust issues, and I was in agony. Pretty simple. Or, okay, how was my mental health when I was working with these clients at this time? It was amazing. How was my mental health when I worked with this particular client? It was diabolical. I was having, you know, I feel like I want to end my life. So looking at my life and being really honest and brave, it enabled me to get a great education on the importance of communication in relationships. I even examined how was my mental health when I made, you know, this batch of YouTube videos at this particular time versus how was my mental health when I made this YouTube video at this particular time, and I could get the answers. It's just amazing. It's really helped me. It's helped me to keep myself alive and have a meaning and purpose and appreciate life. And it's helped me to continue helping more people, I guess you could say, on a much deeper level. I also really appreciate, I learn from my friends, from what they tell me. I love learning. I learn from good people. I learn from my clients. I learn from my friends, family. I learn from, you know, my heroes growing up. Anybody. I don't care who they are. If they're a good person, or even if someone's not being a good person, I learn in life. You know, I'm a teacher, but I'm also a student, because number one, I know that I'm stupid, and I know that there's so much that I don't know. But in where I'm an expert, I'm extremely intelligent, highly intelligent at what I do, brilliant at what I do, fantastic at what I do, because I've dedicated my life to it, and and I'm blessed to have a gift to help people. And a lot of it comes from being hurt growing up and going through difficult times, but also going through many good times, and working hard, having good mentors, and you know, working very hard. So we can go on many different levels today. So let's look at, for example, now I'm going to be honest, it's great. I've never been married before, right? I've got such a great respect for people that are married. I just think it's such a beautiful thing, right? I hope I get to experience it, but I've never been married before, right? And just to share some of my life experiences, quite a few women wanted to marry me, right? And it feels quite amazing to say that now, and a little bit sad too, but I wasn't. At the time, I was too insecure. I didn't realise, but I had major trust issues. I was afraid of being hurt, and I kind of weren't quite ready. I didn't feel ready. So a lot of it was down to my own insecurities, and you know, sometimes it weren't the right person, although I really loved the person and they loved me, and you know, things happen in life. But I have mentored people that have been married, friends, and you know, my mentors, and I like learning. But you know, one of the biggest problems in marriage, why most marriages don't work, and it saddens me to say that, but it's true, one of the contributing factors why most marriages don't work around the whole world is because of poor communication. People are afraid, even in the marriage, to communicate what they're feeling. Because in no chronological order, number one, they're ashamed. They're ashamed that if they confess their feelings and emotions, whether it's negative or positive or it's from the heart, they feel ashamed. They feel ashamed to be vulnerable in front of the person. That's one. The second one is that they're terrified that the person will judge them and leave them and not love them and abandon them, or make them feel that they're strange or weird, or make them feel that they're misunderstood, all in that area of rejection and not being understood. Another one is, I've had it with clients, both male and female, people are petrified of confrontation. So they're afraid to say in a marriage, look, I'm actually not happy about something that you do. Can we talk about it and work it out? Or actually there's an insecurity that I want to share with you. A lot of men in marriages won't tell their partner, they won't tell their wife, or they won't tell their girlfriend that they're struggling with a mental health problem, because they're terrified that their wife or their partner will leave them and won't love them. So they bottle it up. And bottling it up, from my experience, is unfair. It's not kind to yourself. It's not right. Because in my opinion, if you're married to someone, and this is on both sides, right? I'm more about being equal here, but we're going to cover different areas. If you're married to someone and you love that person and they love you, how on earth can you not tell them that you're struggling with a mental health problem, which is not your fault? No one says, yeah, I want to have a mental health problem. I've got a mental health problem, so I understand that. It's not your fault. So if you're in a marriage with someone and you love them, and you're giving each other, you're devoting your lives to each other, but you're not telling them that you're struggling with anxiety or paranoia or trust issues, or you've got suicidal thoughts, it's not gonna work out. Your mental health is gonna get worse. Now I understand people will say, I've had it before, you know, what if my wife leaves me? If I tell her that I've got anxiety, what if she don't understand? Well, if she leaves you, she's not the right person. If you love someone and you genuinely love them, if it's real love, wouldn't you look beyond someone having a mental health problem? It don't make sense. So in my opinion, what I believe to be true, it would be better for that person to leave you. Do you want me to get the bill?
I'm not gonna have any more.
I'm not gonna say that. All right, let's go for it. I might get another coffee, but you never know. All right, thank you. So for me, and I'm speaking on, especially for men, but also for women as well, because it can go both ways, and I'll get to that in a second, right? I'm going on a tangent. But I like to share my story and help both, because when I was in a mental hospital in 2017, there was men and women. So it does affect both, but obviously today we know that the suicide rate is higher in men because men struggle to talk about their mental health more because they fear being judged and they think that they're not being men and all that kind of stuff. So if someone's going to leave you in a relationship because you've got a mental health problem, it's better that they leave you and you get well or you get the support you need versus you stay in a marriage and then you end up killing yourself because you couldn't tell your partner what you were going through and struggling with and they didn't know. It don't make sense, but I understand. I mean, I do understand it. So it's communication, you know. It's that's an example that I've given. Hold on a second. That's cool. Thank
You
you.
had 3 coffees, right?
It was 3 coffees, yeah. I'm gonna stop counting off the 3.
One more.
That's all right. It always happens with internet connection. It's got a mind of its own.
Let me check what's going on.
Thank you.
I don't know. Sometimes maybe the way you swipe the card. Would you like a receipt?
No, the receipt's fine. Thank you.
No receipt.
No, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you. So back to what I was saying. Now, obviously, you know what? I'm saying it's extreme, but it's not extreme. I mean, I've given it an extreme example there in regards to how poor communication or a lack of intimacy or vulnerability and honesty could affect a marriage on both sides. And the reason why I've spoken about mental health, because it's, well, I know it. I work with it every week, and I've struggled with my own mental health at times, and I've dedicated my life to it. And I speak to people, friends, and I know this from real experience. So to improve this problem, you've got to start to communicate and do what I'm doing now. Otherwise, mental health won't improve. That is something that I know from experience. And just on simple things as well, you know, if you don't have the courage to communicate in a relationship, then there's always going to be problems. Always going to be problems, like in any relationship, because, you know, whether you might have, let's say for example, you've got in a marriage, you've got the man and the woman is really great at communicating and always expresses feelings in a respectful way, very conscious, very aware, but then the guy is always suppressing everything because he's got a fear of intimacy and shame and not comfortable being emotional. There's going to be a problem because one person is communicating in the correct way, but the other person is communicating in an incorrect way. So we've got a conflict going on. You can't build a connection. It takes 2 people to build a connection, right? So that gives you an understanding example. Now, going into another area, in friendships generally, most friendships today don't work either. If people were really honest, which for some people is like facing death, and I understand I've had to do it, their relationships are not great. They're not great, and I know that because, you know, I've mentored hundreds of clients around the world. One of the most common things I hear from clients is, I don't have any real friends, or, you know, can't trust anyone, or the people that I'm around are making me sick, they're toxic. And that's why I help them with mentorship to improve that, you know, treat people with respect but have personal boundaries, say no to people that are not good for your mental health, say yes to people that are, make sure you're treating people well. So, excuse me, it's a lack of intimacy, it's a lack of honesty. And if you just do small talk, it doesn't get to the root of the problem. You know, small talk for me is small talk is very, very limited. Of course, we need to do a little bit of it here and there because it has its place, but, you know, it doesn't last very long. it's not really honest. It doesn't build a great connection. I don't know anybody that can build a great connection just using small talk. So communication is really important, you know, and that goes with everything that I said. And that's not just communicating mental health problems. That's not just communicating negative emotions. That's also communicating love, things that you enjoy. Many clients that I've worked with, men and women, are terrified of telling their friends what they're passionate about because they're scared of being judged. They're terrified about what their family will think. I went through all these things myself until I overcame it. And that comes back to a fear again of not being accepted, being judged, not being loved, being rejected, and a fear of confrontation. The whole area is confrontation. Now it might not always be at the extreme where people say, well, I'm afraid to say to my friend what I enjoy. I want to start. I've had clients say, I can't tell my friends that I'm doing your mentorship, Jonathan, or I'm following Les Brown, or I'm watching David Goggins. I say, I'm not surprised. Tell me more, because my friends won't understand. They think I'm weird. They'll judge me. They'll say that it's a scam, that it's a rip-off. And I say, hang on a minute. What kind of friends have you got? Get rid of them. They're not the right friends. Then stand up for yourself. You're not going to be living your life. Because if you've got real good friends, they will respect you. They might not understand what you're doing, but they wouldn't say that. So this is where having guts comes in, and being able to stand up for yourself and follow what your values are, because you can't please everyone. No one can. If you try that, you'll end up in a mental hospital, or you'll end up, not in a good place. So communication goes in every single area. I can tell you now why a lot of YouTube channels fail. And I'm going to speak on this, right? I know what a lot of you are thinking straight away, and you've got a good point. I'm not just talking about views and subscribers. I'm talking about impact, helping people, because the person who's making the YouTube video is not authentic. Too scared, not being themselves. A fear of what people think, confrontation, being hurt, a fear to be close, a fear to be intimate with themselves. I see it. I've seen it for the last 12 years. I've been on YouTube now for 12 years. This problem shows up everywhere. Of course, you've got people on YouTube that are brilliant. They're amazing. They are honest. They're vulnerable. They change people. That have changed my life. They're so genuine. But you have many people that are not, because they are not communicating correctly. They're not communicating from their soul, from their heart, from their emotions. They're communicating from their ego, from their mind. They're acting according to what they think people would like, but they're abandoning themselves. It doesn't work. It's a breakdown in communication. So that causes mental health problems. So mental health problems, of course, it is mostly sensitive in real relationships. But a lot of the time today, which is unfortunate, that people spend, and I'm doing it right now, but I do enjoy this, and I have a lot of time with people in person, and we'll get to that in another video about balance. A lot of the time people spend is online. If you're not being yourself online, if you're not communicating and being vulnerable with your emotions in a respectful way, you're going to cause mental health problems. Certainly going to worsen them. You're not going to improve them. And that's for anyone. Even for people that quote unquote wouldn't say that they've got like an existing mental health problem, an anxiety disorder, or OCD, or social anxiety, or bipolar, or generalized anxiety, or ADHD, all the different labels and different categories, it's going to affect your mental health. You can't lie to the body and to your mind. So communication and the breakdown of communication is a real problem today in our culture, and it's been an ongoing problem even before we were alive, even in our parents' generation, and even before that, because human beings have got this terrifying fear of not being accepted, not being loved, and being attacked and potentially being killed. That sounds extreme, but it's true. That's how unconscious these fears go, and it's unlikely that you're going to die if you speak, but it can trigger on that survival mechanism. And when I was growing up in school, I was frightened of being killed, and I got threatened. It's not a joke. And I actually don't mind if some of you laugh. It'll be great if I can bring joy to more of you, but I actually got threatened when I was at school. My school was a tough school. I don't know how it was for all of you growing up. I hope that you didn't go through what I did. But my school was a mixed school, guys and girls, but it was really difficult. I remember going to school and saying, you know what, this is like going to prison. I don't want to be here. So kids would say to me, and other kids, you know, Jonathan, if you speak again, I'm gonna punch your head in, or we're gonna bring a gang down after school, and they're gonna stab you to death. It put a lot of fear in me. I actually was terrified. So of course it made me afraid to communicate and express and be vulnerable, because if someone's saying to you when you're young and you're vulnerable and you're scared that if you speak they're going to kill you, of course you're going to have reservations about speaking. Of course it's going to traumatize you. Of course that's going to affect every single relationship that you've got with a human being until you fix it and address it. I think the coffee's kicking in. And I always go back to this, and this is I always love saying it. I've got fond memories. I think I said this today on my live stream, and I think I'm going to speak for a lot of people. I know I am. But I can't remember my earliest childhood memories. I don't know if any of you can. Like some people can remember when they were 1 or 2. I can't remember that far back, but I remember when I was a young kid. When I was young, I never had any problems communicating. I didn't have any fear of what people thought. Why do I always get that voice in my head that says I'm cheesy? This is an intrusive thought. Now I could be cheesy. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, and if I am cheesy, well, I quite like that about myself. Why are you saying that? Where does that come from? See, that's trauma. That's old stuff in the past, but this is how we deal with it. I've got the guts to get it out, and so I just had an intrusive thought saying that I'm cheesy. It might be cheesy. How many of you think I'm cheesy? Gonna get your questions. So when I was younger, I loved people. I didn't have trust issues. I trusted people. I just was a people's person. I was lovely, charming, easygoing, and I would always speak from what I felt. So I didn't have any that stopping, starting, freezing up, going over it in your head 17 times to make sure that you're not going to be judged or you're not going to upset someone. I didn't have all that. Didn't have all that as a kid. I was in my heart, and I think everyone's like that when they're young. And it felt so amazing to be alive and live that way. I loved it. Loved it around my family. I just loved it. I just loved people. I love that connection. I think that's a great thing. But something changed. When I got bullied, traumatized, beaten down, I became terrified of people, terrified of communication, absolutely petrified of emotions, frightened to death. Communicating with emotions around people for me was like the equivalent of jumping in the ocean with 10 great white sharks. That's how frightened I was. Maybe that is a bit of an exaggeration, but you understand my point. I was petrified. And I had every reason to be, and I wasn't wrong for being afraid. I was correct. I was young, and I got traumatized, bullied, abused, and affected my mental health. All right, Mohammed, good to see you, mate. Appreciate that. Alex, just reading your question. Thinking of communication with my parents. I don't like communication. To be talkable, because it sees that they always wanting to know details and why so many questions from them. Yeah, that can be annoying when people do that. It can come from like quite a nasty place when people do that. Of course, it's all about, and again, the place you come from. If someone's kind and there's empathy, and they're not judging and being patronising, if they ask me a question or you, I don't mind telling them. But if I can feel that someone's questioning me and they're judging me, I'm going to say, hang on a minute, no, I'm sorry, I've got high self-esteem. I'm not really going to answer that question unless you change your tone. I can be really blunt with people and really kind. So yeah, it depends the place people are coming from. It's important. It's a good point you mentioned. So back to my original point. So yeah, it can affect mental health if you don't change it. And I was listening to a lady yesterday. It was an amazing video that she done. I don't know, it just come up randomly on YouTube. I come home and I listened to her video and I was like, and I don't want to, everything she was saying was correct. She basically said that energy has to keep flowing. That if you don't communicate, you're going to get problems in your body. You're going to get a lot of pain in any relationship. She was spot on. She was brilliant. She's got experience. I've said the same thing. Anyone with any intelligence in their head knows that. Great wisdom and insight that she was given. And you always feel better when you get things out. I'm an introvert. You're an introvert, okay. To open up too much. I don't really have any advice, if I'm being honest, on that question that you've said. I think that's going to be, I'd probably need, I'd need to be in person with you or at an event. From what you said, I'd probably say that it's better than the opposite. So you're saying that you open up a bit too much with people. Well, I would say that's where wisdom comes in. Of course, there's doing things from the right way and there's overdoing it. So of course you can be too open with people, like you've just said. So you probably want to, calm it down. Thank you. Probably want to, just get the balance right and ease up on it, and not go to the extreme, because obviously, closing down too much is not good. Opening up too much can be a little bit like chaotic, and it can be a little bit inappropriate. So I'll give you an example, right? And this is just going to try and help you to figure it out. And so, I don't know, this is going to be quite funny, but I'm not going to walk into Starbucks when I'm getting coffee, and if the person says like, "How's your day?" I'm not going to be like this. It's not appropriate, right? I'm doing a live stream now, and there's a reason why I'm being this open, because this is my job, this is my passion. I'm helping people, so I'm just going to shorten it up. So it's knowing when to speak, when to listen, when to be quiet, when to be open, and when not. And that comes with, maturity, wisdom. But I think deep down you know what to do. Maybe you needed a bit of my permission, which I'm happy to give you, an encouragement. I'm going to say this, right, thinking about some of the questions about communication. Every single human being has got, humanity in them. We've got instincts, we've got an intuition. When we're in a conversation with someone generally, if we use common sense, we know when it's too much, it's appropriate, it's not appropriate. We generally know that. And if someone, has got maybe they've got a challenging disorder where they don't, then obviously that's where they'd get some help, which I'm really compassionate about. So it's really just about common sense, but usually with people, it's the courage to follow your intuition and to know, and again, it's knowing, and that's where relationships comes in, and that's why relationships are important, because you're not going to be able to go deep with every single person that you speak to throughout your human experience. And for some of the reasons that we said, respecting other people, you're not going to be close with every single person. And that's where I would say prioritizing having good relationships with people that you can talk to, and having the common sense to know the people that you're not going to be able to have that open dialogue with. So communication is like any skill. It's something that you work at and that you improve. And I've been working on it for all my life, and I teach it, and I really enjoy it. And it's great. It's something that everyone can improve at every single day. Everyone can get better at it, but it's obviously it's wanting to improve at it. It's putting in the effort, and it's getting a mentor, or working at it from watching my videos, or a therapist, or a teacher, or a group of friends. It's common sense really, but it takes a lot of courage. Yeah, that's a good point you mentioned, Alex, and that's why I appreciate everyone coming on the stream, because every single thing that everyone's saying is going to contribute and connect on today's talk, which is communication. And that effectively, that's what we're doing a mentoring session right now. This is what I would do with a client. This is my mentorship. When people ask me, they go, how does your mentorship look like? I think people think like, it's going to be like, we're not flying to space. It's pretty simple, but it's life-changing. It's communication. It's helping my clients to communicate better. So yeah, on practical terms, communicating your feelings, getting them out, is great for mental health, for men and women, for people of all ages. And that's an ongoing dialogue, like we've discussed earlier. I'm learning as I go along and explain, which is great. Gratitude. You play it by ear. I had an amazing mentoring session with a client, my client James. He's amazing. I love working with him. It was a couple of days ago. James is doing my 2-year program, and he comes down to London, and we do a session in person, and we also do a session on Zoom. And we did a 2-hour session on Zoom, and he's always really grateful, and I'm really grateful to have him work with him. And I said, that was a great session today, and we're very conscious. We like to appreciate things. I said, do you know why? Because we went back and forward. When he's speaking, I don't interrupt. I'm not trying to control the conversation. I'm not being, manically egotistical. I'm listening, letting him speak, appreciating what he's saying, making space. He's finishing. I'm speaking when I'm supposed to speak. It's back and forward, and the time goes so quick. Why does the time go so quick? Number one is because we're both being honest and vulnerable, and that's part of my job, to help my clients to get better at being more vulnerable and honest. Number two is because I'm really grateful to be talking with him, and he's grateful to be talking with me. We've both got high levels of gratitude. Number three is because we're not in our head. We've come out of our head, we're in the body, and it's authentic, it's communicative, it's honest, it's appropriate, it's brilliant, and the time goes so quick. Time always goes quick when you're honest, you're authentic, you're present, you're grateful, you're kind, you're being yourself, you're caring about the other person, you're generally listening to them when they're speaking, they're listening to you. It creates a whole different atmosphere, and the time goes quick. So all the ingredients are in what I just said. But to do that takes a tremendous amount of courage, depending also on the way that you were brought up, what you went through. Some people who have been fortunate to grow up in a family where it wasn't abusive, or there was very little abuse, which is great. For a lot of us, it weren't like that, where they weren't attacked or shouted at or abused for communicating their emotions, so they didn't really take on that fear. That's not part of their learned anxieties. So communicating comes very natural for them. Brilliant. That's a wonderful thing. But for people that weren't like that growing up, who are like me, who maybe were good communicators, but then they got traumatized and attacked and they got hurt and then they got frightened and shut down. It's very, very painful for a period, and it's a lot of work to get yourself back again and build that trust back and that confidence and that self-esteem and those communication skills. It takes a lot of courage, a lot of work, but it's worth it. It's always worth it for those that value it. I was reading your question, Alex. It's good that you're making progress. Now, speaking on communication, one of the two of the most frustrating communication errors that people make. We've all made it. I put my hand up. I've done it like so many times. It's infuriating, which is why I know it from doing it myself, having people do it to me, and it's infuriating, but getting it right. People don't listen. They don't listen when the person's speaking, whether it's your family, your friend, your wife, your husband, your partner, person serving you coffee. People don't listen. Why don't they listen? Number one is because they're selfish. I don't mean they're selfish entirely, no, but they are selfish. They're thinking about themselves. How am I coming across? What's the person thinking about me? What can I get from that person? They need to understand me. They need to like me. They need to accept me. They need to improve. They need to approve of me. They need to listen to me. That's where it comes from, being unconscious, selfish. Yeah, being selfish. It's outright selfish, and it's a lack of communication skills, not listening. Or when the person's speaking, people go, yeah, and then on to what they want to say. Because again, no awareness, or a lack of empathy, or selfish. Or maybe someone's got a lot of empathy, a lot of love, but they're not aware of it. They've been doing it for so long that it's become a habit to them. Also, it's an inability to read social cues. So they can't see that when they're communicating that on the person's face, the person's like, I'm really getting pissed off of this. Like, I'm trying to speak, you're interrupting me, you're cutting me off, and all you're talking about is yourself, and you don't care about me. That's how it makes people feel. So everybody needs to change that if they want to be a better person and improve communication right across the board in every area. Marriage, relationships, business, career, day to day, every relationship. If you don't learn that in life, then you're going to suffer a lot more, and you're not going to learn it, and you're going to lose out, and people are going to lose out on the value that you've got to give, and you're going to upset a lot of people, and you're going to regret it at some point when you're aware of it. So you have to learn to listen, not fake listening, because that is infuriating to everybody, because you might as well not listen if you're going to do that. There's no point. People know it, they're not stupid. So listening to someone is not just about with your ears when people go, yeah, I'm listening. No, that is a base level. Listening is when you're like, you know what, I'm going to surrender. I'm going to control my emotions. I'm going to control my mind. I'm just going to use, common sense and want to be there for the person, being there and listening to the person and actually not rushing, being there forever. When you do that, most people will love you, they'll appreciate it. We're all the same. We're all the same. Who doesn't want someone to, even for 5 minutes, to appreciate them, listen to them, and care about what they've got to say? So present listening, something that I had to learn as well, because I was really bad at it growing up. I used to be good at it. I got hurt, I got bullied, and that can happen. So it's controlling your emotions, and it's just you might have to practice for a while, actually making it like a goal until it becomes natural, and you actually enjoy it more. And it's actually a strength to surrender, let go of control, and it's letting go of control. People that want to control everything, control people because of insecurity and fear and anger and resentment and emotional problems, and being too desperate to be liked. They want to control the conversation. If you're obsessed with controlling the conversation, then you're never going to listen to someone. Never really going to hear them. You can listen to someone but not hear them. That's the great thing about mentoring and teaching people. I've been mentoring people for 12 years, and changing people's lives has changed my life. I had to learn to listen and be there and really understand who a person is, what they feel, what their values are, what's important to them, what they don't like, what they do like, how they're feeling, how they see the world, from learning and being present. And life is amazing when you do that. You experience life, you experience gratitude, and you're there, and you have better mental health by being present and listening. So learn to listen. Learn to listen for everybody who's on this stream, for men and women of all ages. And if you listen and you don't try to control people and come at them with your aggressive energy, it's so likely that that person will listen to you and respect you and give you the control in a healthy way. Make sense? It's basically kindness, what I'm saying. Now, of course, like what you've said, Alex, it also comes from anxiety management as well. When people, which I understand, when people have got high levels of social anxiety, it can be hard for them to listen to the person because they're so anxious and they're so self-conscious about them and how they're coming across that, again, it's too focused on yourself. So practice focusing on the other person, calming your emotions down, listening, and then your communication will get better. So that's really important as well. The second one, which is a mistake that people make, and it's really, really annoying, and it will really upset a lot of people and it holds you back in life if you don't change it, is interrupting the other person when they're speaking. Which again, it comes back to not having the patience and the discipline and the empathy and the security to let go of control and not interrupt the person. Let the person finish what they're saying. See the space that I can leave? I'll show you now. Right, obviously it's a bit different here. And then the energy, the atmosphere tells you when is the appropriate time, then you can say your part. Have any of you ever watched a podcast show? I bet you have, and you're looking forward to watching it. One of your heroes has come on, or someone you like. The person's bringing them on the show, and the podcaster will not shut up, and they keep interrupting the guest. And you're thinking in your head, hang on a minute, this is not about you. This is not about your story, your life. Control your, I want to hear what my hero's got to say. What is the point of bringing someone on a show and you're saying, well, I'm going to bring you on a podcast show today and we're going to interview you and we want you to share your story. If you're going to interrupt the person and you're going to start talking about yourself, it defeats the whole object of the whole agreement and the podcast show. Unless it was a different style of podcast, that's different. Of course you've all experienced that, and that's frustrating, and you see it in the comment section. You read it, people say, that was so annoying. The interviewer kept interrupting the guest when the guest was trying to speak. How infuriating. I switched off. So you have to have awareness, and a lot of people today, they don't have awareness, they lack awareness. Because they're selfish, they've not worked at it, they are not facing their fears, and they've been in this pattern for so long that some people are not even aware of it. So change it, become aware of it, because if you don't change it, then your life isn't going to improve in every single way, shape or form. And learn, put your pride aside, learn from good people, observe people, learn. I always, and still do, because I'm always learning. I'm a teacher and a student. I always admire and learn from people that are good communicators. And for me, how I define, excuse me, my take, and everyone's going to have their own opinion, which is great. My take on a good communicator is someone, before we get into all of like, you know, listening, eye contact, your tone, kindness. If I see someone interacting or talking amongst each other, they talk to me or they're on a YouTube video, podcast show, or in real life, when I see people being kind of like, that's amazing, because not everyone's like that today, especially in the generation we're living in. It's quite rare, which is a shame. Hopefully it will change, please God. So that's a great communicator, kindness, because it takes a lot of courage to be kind to people and be genuinely kind. And the second one is, as I said, someone that can listen and not inappropriately talk about themselves, because of course there is an appropriate time to talk about yourself. That can be a great thing, but like what we said earlier, social skills, communication skills, there is a right time to talk about yourself. There is an agreement between people. There is a wrong time to talk about yourself. There is overdoing it, there is underdoing it. So these are really good signs, you know, people that listen. A really good communicator, I'll give you some, you'll know, and I've met many in my life. Some of the best communicators, they won't even talk about themselves. They'll just be interested in you. They'll be asking you questions. When you're talking, they'll be listening. They'll generally be interested. It wouldn't be fake. If it's fake, it's not good communication. We're not going to get nowhere like that. I understand it, of course. No one's perfect. None of us are. And sometimes people will try, and that's where they start. I get that, and I'm patient on that. But you can't stay there. So I've had it before with clients where I said, look, you can't fake empathy. Empathy can't be faked. It's not empathy. You can't fake that you're interested in listening to someone when really you're bored and you're counting sheep in your head. That's not it. You're not going to get it right like that. It has to be genuine. Now, of course, you might have to go through that process where you're going, it don't feel natural, but it's got to be real. Otherwise, it's just it ain't gonna be the right connection. It ain't gonna work, and we all know that deep down. But most of it's common sense, you know. But it takes character, it takes courage, and a lot of it takes non-selfishness and being secure within yourself and not needing to compete and control the conversation and feel that you've always got to get out all of your feelings, views, thoughts, emotions, etc., and let the other person express. Now, jumping on to I'm good, thank you.
You want to take some of this before I take it away?
No, you go for it. I had some yesterday. No, it's too tempting.
Sure.
Thank you. Now, let's see. That's the bit I wanted to get to. I kind of touched on it earlier on. I want to speak about it, and I had this realization. I hope that I don't lose my train of thought. So, a lot of people, and this is especially for men, because I know that a lot of men struggle with this because their pride, their male ego, and I get it, and I've also struggled with it, which is why I understand from struggling, getting it right. I've helped many clients. Mentors have helped me, and good family members and friends, people that I've met on my journey of life. Good communication is often not telling people all the things that all the good things about you, all the things that you want people to think about you. Good communication is sharing your vulnerabilities, your insecurities, which is obviously, it challenges popular belief, because everybody today, not everybody, but everybody wants to tell everybody about how great they are, how perfect they are, how they've got no flaws, everything's going well, and we know, well, hopefully we know that that's a lie. That's never the case. Not saying that people can't say positive things about themselves, but the reality is we've all got insecurities. It doesn't matter what we've got, it doesn't matter what we achieve, it doesn't matter who we are, we're all vulnerable, we're all human. And at some point, if you don't confess that, you're going to have poor mental health. and you're not going to have no confidence. So confidence in communication and in yourself is not about you just sharing. And often people lie. They lie about who they are, what they got, and that just causes a lot more problems. So a lot of it is having the courage to share your insecurities, your struggles, your challenges, or your things that you're fearful about. That really improves communication, like I said, and in a lot of relationships. Often this is a common pattern in human relationships. When we first meet someone, we've all done it. Put my hand up to it. This is why I know it. We first start meeting someone or dating someone, or in any relationship, a business relationship, and the first thing we do is we want to show the person, like, we try too hard. We want to show them all of our good bits. We want to hide all our cracks, all our mental health issues, all our financial struggles, all our emotional problems, all the challenges that we have. We want to stuff that down and hide that. We don't want them to know that about us, because we're afraid that they will judge us, and we're gonna lose something. But as time goes on, if you keep doing that, and I know from my experience, and I've been working with clients for a long time now, it affects your mental health, affects your self-worth. There's a price to pay for telling lies, and there's a price to pay if you're continuously protecting yourself and you're not vulnerable. You can't be vulnerable if you're not sharing in the right, appropriate way your vulnerabilities and insecurities, and that is an ongoing dialogue, because the last time I checked, we're all a work in progress. That's so important, and that's actually what makes people really connect with each other. Touching on the deeper truths in life. When you get deep down, I've never connected with a person based on my bank account or my money, or lack of money or a lot of money, or it's not that. No. It's based on values. It's based on your struggles. It's based on your insecurities, your vulnerabilities, your deepest insecurities, your shame, your pain, your trauma, your quirks, your personality, all the beautiful things that most people are frightened of and ashamed of because of too much ego, peer pressure, lack of maturity, and being human. So good mental health is a consequence of having people that you can trust and having the confidence and not caring what people think to share your insecurities and your vulnerabilities, and that's what keeps you together, and that's what makes you stronger. So contradictory to maybe a lot of popular belief, people think that this is how the ego works and this is the human mind until you start to change it, become more mature. Well, this is the mindset of a lot of people today, in all walks of life. If I tell that person about my insecurity, they're going to look down on me. It's going to make me have no confidence. In my experience, that's a lie. That's not true. So I'll give you a small example. Let's say, for example, I've had so many fears and insecurities. I've still got so many, but okay, so let's see what comes to mind and heart. Might need another coffee. So for years, I had a real insecurity about swimming, swimming in any, not just the sea, but a swimming pool. My insecurity went back to childhood, being skinny, growing up, being embarrassed of my body when I was younger, and I wasn't really a good swimmer. At class, we used to go swimming, and then when you're younger, there's a lot of peer pressure. And there was a couple of swimmers. There was a girl and a guy, and they were like the best swimmers in my class. They were amazing, and I was one of the kids that struggled at swimming. I couldn't swim in the deep end, and I think the kids, I got laughed and people teased me, so it affected me. So growing up, I had an insecurity even as an adult, and even when I was in a relationship, I was scared to go on holiday with my girlfriend at the time because I was like, I can't swim. I wouldn't go swimming, even though I did like the water. So for many years, I never shared it. This was years ago. I didn't share that with people at the time because I was too scared about what they'd think about me, and I didn't want to share that I had an insecurity. So I just would rather keep it bottled up, or even lie and say, yeah, I'm a good swimmer, or just not mention it. But now I don't have that insecurity anymore because I faced the fear. But it took me a few years, and I feel very grateful Now, it wouldn't be a problem for me. I would share that. And I've got other insecurities. I've got loads. I'm just trying to think of one. What's one of my insecurities? I've got so many. I'm insecure about dancing. Even though I faced my fear a year and a half ago in Brighton with a friend, and it was amazing. But it's still an ongoing fear. So I've got an insecurity about dancing. I feel insecure, vulnerable with dancing, right? So that's an example. That actually makes you stronger in the long run. If you can share your insecurities and come to accept them and not care what people think, you become more confident. So it's actually in reverse to what a lot of people think. And your body won't lie. Your body will give you that confirmation over time. So again, it's about maturity, you know, and people that are more confident, mature, they won't even judge on that. It would be nothing to them. They'd actually respect you for that, and I respect that, which is why all my heroes, I love them because they're good people, they're amazing, and they've got the courage to be vulnerable and share with the whole world and with me their insecurities. And sometimes they overcome those insecurities. Some of them are ongoing, and then it gives you permission, makes you feel secure, makes you feel better about sharing yours. Good that you got that out, Alex. That's a good exercise, and everybody's welcome to do that if they feel comfortable. If they don't, then they don't have to. So that's a good start, getting that out, what you said, how you feel, because if you keep that in and you don't get that out, that's going to affect you. It's going to affect your mental health and your body. But obviously it's finding the appropriate way to get it out, which you've done today. And I don't know if you've done therapy, but I recommend therapy or getting a mentor where you can get it out, obviously, in an appropriate way. But well done for getting it out. It does help. So, as we've already learnt today, there's quite a lot of different areas in communication, but it's quite simple when you get down to it. I mean, when I'm explaining it on the live stream, it's kind of stressful for me. It's more heavier because, I'm speaking on a machine, but when you're actually with people in real life, it becomes a lot more easier. And it's a bit like if I was to try to explain to someone what it feels like to go into a boxing ring and box, and it's difficult, it's really difficult, but you have to do it to really understand it and experience it and get the confirmation through actually living it, breathing it and doing it. And that's exactly how honest communication is. So the value of honest communication is good mental health, confidence. It's not just for you, it's other people. And I mean, the list goes on and on. I could be here all day explaining it. But like I've said today, of course there's different domains of communication, there's different platforms. So you've got communication if you've got a therapist, you've got communication with parents, with friends, communication with your colleagues at work, you've got communication with the everyday public, you've got communication with yourself, communication if you're YouTube or streaming or whatever. So it's also learning how to be authentic, to be yourself and communicate, and have the social skills to know, obviously, when it's appropriate, to be more open, to keep, things to yourself. But my main thing is you have to have some relationships in your life where you can get things out, you can express, you're not bottling things up, because that long term, that causes mental health problems. mean, I knew when I did the stream today that this is such a great area. It's going to take me, which is great, a lifetime to explain this more. There's a lot to get through, and I'm just sharing things that are coming to heart and from my life experience in the last 70 minutes. But there's a lot more information, and that's why I mentor people and help them. And I'm probably going to have to write a book and build a lot more products to help more people and get this information out, because there's so much. And as you know, with communication, it's an ongoing thing until we pass away, and who knows, even then. That's a video for maybe another time. So it's an ongoing dialogue, and I think this is what people sometimes forget, is that even if you're good at communicating, you've got to continue doing it. You've got to go to work if you want to maintain a relationship, and especially with a marriage or a long-term friendship or a long-term in business. You've got to work at it, because if you don't work at it, it's going to deteriorate. It's not going to maintain. Why do I keep doing that and the water's run out? So yeah, all my clients say, and I know it from the experience, that a lot of the value that they get from my mentorship is the communication. When we do the mentorship sessions and paid programs, they can get things out. They can express their emotions, their positive emotions, traumas, anxieties, things that are bothering them, and then they feel better, and then they get more confident. They're more honest, and they take all that confidence, all those communication skills into every single relationship. Public speaking is probably the best thing to do to improve your communication. It's a life-changing experience, and it's one of the top human fears. I think everyone should try it at least once in their lifetime. It's amazing. I love public speaking. My client Phil, that's doing my 1-year program, he's doing a second program. I've helped him to build a successful business. He's doing public speaking every month. It's transformed him, and he's working with his clients and his business, and I've seen the transformation in him. I've seen it with so many clients that I work with. So I'd recommend anyone on this stream or who watches this later on, who really wants to improve their communication skills and get more confident, definitely take up public speaking. And it's actually something that I do within my mentorship. If you're interested in my mentorship, I do a 1-year program, but I only work with clients that are really committed. So you've got to be really committed, and I need to have a conversation with you, make sure you're right for that. I do some shorter-term programs as well, and if you're interested in mentorship, my email address is below this live stream and all my videos, and I can help you with that. But yeah, public speaking is very, very good. But like I said, it's not just public speaking, it's in all your relationships with people from day to day, and it's something that you have to, you want to continuously work at. Last drop of water. Something that I realised as well, a lot of people, and I had this fear until I overcame it and made progress, my clients too, people are not just afraid of communicating and being vulnerable and honest in their relationships with people that they love, or new people, or colleagues, or people in general. People are afraid to confront their own emotions in their own body. So obviously when we communicate like I'm doing now, and we speak from our emotions, our heart, our spirit, our soul, our mind, all of it, and we're honest, we have to experience our own emotions in our own body. And for a lot of people that's terrifying, and I know that feeling, I've been through it as well. So there's a time where it can be very painful, because you've got to feel into your emotions. And as we know, a lot of men, until they change it, they're not very good at feeling their emotions. They usually push them off, avoid them, medicate them, numb them out, because of shame, because of pain, because of blame, and a fear of confrontation, a fear of confronting your own emotions by feeling them and by speaking from the emotions that you feel, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, sad, or showing your personality. And that's something that you have to face if you want to make progress with mental health, confidence, self-esteem, and you want to improve your relationship with yourself and other human beings. And obviously, you know, a big discipline for everybody is to have the discipline to freely. I remember actually, this is it, I'll share it. It was 2017. This is when I had a mental health breakdown, and obviously I wasn't teaching. I couldn't teach at this point. I wasn't well. I needed the help, and there was a church that I would go, and outside the church there was a caravan, and they offered therapy there. They did like free therapy, which I thought was brilliant. And you'd go into this kind of little caravan, and there would be like a different therapist in there, and if there was a space that you'd come in, and then they'd say, you know, what do you want to talk about? You talk about your problems. And I went and got therapy, and I know that I was getting therapy from different people, guys, girls. There was a man giving me therapy, and I was going through a lot of mental health problems and challenges. And he said to me, you know, Jonathan, he said, have you been exercising at the moment? I said, no, I haven't been exercising at the moment because, you know, I'm too unwell. I'm actually in a mental hospital, and I can come out from a few hours at a time. And he said, you know, because at the moment you're completely in your head, and he was correct. And he said, you really want to drop from your head into the body, and that would give you a lot more peace, a lot less anxiety and pain. And he was completely correct, and that stuck with me because number one, I knew he was right. Number two, it helped me. Number three, you know, I taught people for many years how to do that, and he made me become aware of it. And I took that advice, and it's life-changing. And that's an ongoing challenge that people have. They get too stuck in their head, and when you're stuck in your head, communication's never fun. It's painful in your head too much. Of course, there's a time to be in your head. There's a time where it's okay, but too long in your head, depression, anxiety, overthinking, worrying, catastrophizing, intrusive thoughts, etc. So learning how to drop into the body, and you can't drop into the body if you're not being honest with your emotions and vulnerable. The body don't work that way. The mind and the body connection. I know that from 40 years of living, in 12 years of mentoring people, and doing thousands of YouTube videos, public talks, mentoring sessions, and friendships, and having mentorship myself in therapy. So this is a huge problem in relationships. Most relationships that people are having are head relationships, which are not good. That is not going to sustain. That is not going to be fun for very long, which is why it's learning. It's a daily practice, an hourly practice. I'm practicing it now, how to come from your head into your body. And I've said before, exercising helps you to do that, like the therapist said to me, and that's why I exercise pretty much most days. I put the videos out to help people, and I get my clients to do it in the paid programs and on all the free platforms. Because when you exercise, you get out of your head in the body. All exercising does that, you know, if you really commit to it and you enjoy it. And communication does that, if you're communicating in the correct way. Now, if you're protecting yourself, if you're lying, if you're not being vulnerable, you're going to be stuck in your head. And you know when you're getting better because time, like today, time has flied. If you're in a conversation with someone and 2 hours has gone quick, that means you've had a good connection. If you're with someone and 2 hours feels like a decade, that means that the connection was very poor. I mean, of course, you know, we're all human, no one's perfect. You could have both had a bad day, but that is the truth in my experience. That is kind of a good way of assessing and helping you, not judging, to show you where your relationships are good, where your connections are good, where it's poor, where it needs to improve. So as you know, time flies when you're having fun. Time flies when you're honest. Time flies when you're vulnerable. Time takes hours, it's endless when people are not being honest and real, and they're stuck in their head too much, and they're protecting, you know, stuffing their emotions down, avoiding defense mechanisms, procrastination, etc. So yeah, for a lot of people, and I know this from clients, and I know it from being human. It feels quite difficult at the start, like all things do. Anything new feels difficult, it feels painful, it will feel painful at times, not forever, it will feel unnatural, you're going to feel insecure. This is all positive, you're meant to feel these things. Keep going with it, keep practicing improving your communication, and that is also what we spoke about earlier. Learn to listen when someone's talking, respect them. Learn to be more emotional with your content and your communication, whatever platform you're on, and you're going to see a vast improvement. Now, of course, people are going to be saying, yeah, but what if people don't like me? Well, you've got to accept that. No one's going to be liked by everyone, but you're going to attract and meet and build relationships with people that will like you. Most importantly, you'll like yourself. I said to a client before, he was having an issue in relationships, and I said, you know, I know that you've got a people-pleasing tendency. You've told me that, and you know, you've paid me and asked me to help you, and I want to be straight with you. It's great that you're empathetic. You've got a great heart. You're kind, but your friend is literally killing your mental health. You need to stop abandoning yourself. And we stopped and went, "You're so right, Jonathan. I need to stop doing it." It was emotional. It was understandable. I said, you've got to stop honoring yourself, loving yourself, you know, being emotionally available for yourself and not overdoing it, overstretching, which comes back to wisdom again and balance. What you'll actually find as well, I would say all anxiety that you're experiencing right now or in your life, every single bit of, I'm not saying forever, because obviously this is an ongoing struggle that we all have with being peaceful, anxious people, but generally in one conversation you can wipe out every bit of anxiety in your body if you've got the courage and the stamina and the patience and the humility and the love to be honest with the other person and give them that nice space so they can trust you and be honest with you as well. Your anxiety will leave the body, and you'll experience peace, gratitude. That's why, you know, that's why teachers and people, everybody, love it if they've got the freedom to express themselves and be themselves without the fear of being hurt, attacked, or judged, or bullied, or harmed, or threatened. Everybody loves that feeling of freedom. And that's what gives you the peace and enables you to feel relaxed in your body, feel free, and enjoy your communication. Right, we're going to end it there now. We've come to the point. To be continued. I appreciate everyone coming on. I knew that we'd cover a lot today, and it would give me more inspiration. No, that's not the right word. Yeah, inspiration is the right word, but more momentum to continue on more live streams, because this is an ongoing dialogue. But we covered loads today. You can get through it, all of you, break it down, practice it. Any more questions, let me know. I'm going to answer it in videos, but yeah, I'm going to get some rest now, all right? Enjoy the rest of your weekend, all of you. I appreciate you coming on. Good luck, and I'll speak to you soon.